Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. So if you're a focused learner looking to master one of the absolute most stunning collector's plants out there, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into a complete care and growth guide for the dramatic, highly sought-after beauty that is the Philodendron Pink Princess. Look, this plant has literally taken the internet by storm with its dark green, heart-shaped leaves splashed with these vibrant bubblegum strokes of pink. And today, we're going to give you everything you need to know to make yours absolutely thrive.
But hey, before we get to those gorgeous, mature leaves, let's immediately address the elephant in the room. The question keeping everyone up at night. Why is my pink princess losing its pink? It is hands down the houseplant community's biggest fear regarding this stunning aroid. You bring home this beautiful, splashy plant, and suddenly the new leaves are just totally green. Or worse, those precious pink patches are turning brown and crispy. No way, right? Well, don't panic. We're going to solve that mystery for you today.
Okay, let's dive into this. For our masterclass today, we'll quickly cover 1. Meet the Pink Princess, 2. Core care requirements, 3. Environment and feeding, 4. Mastering pink variegation, and finally, 5. Propagation and troubleshooting.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Meet the Pink Princess, also known affectionately as the bubblegum aroid.
So what exactly are we dealing with here? Well, the Pink Princess is a vining cultivar of Philodendron rubescens, and that actually tells us a lot because it brilliantly illustrates a key behavioral trait. This plant is a natural-born climber. In its native rainforest environment, it's an epiphytic vining aroid, which is just a fancy way of saying it grows straight up the trunks of much larger trees. Because of that, providing a moss pole or a trellis for your indoor plant is an absolute pro tip. When you give it something to climb, you're actively encouraging those much larger, more robust, and impressive leaves.
Moving right along to Section 2, Core Care Requirements, the absolute non-negotiables.
Consider this your ultimate cheat sheet to screenshot later. These are the foundational parameters you absolutely need to keep your plant not just alive, but happy. It needs bright, indirect light. You should only water it when the top 1 to 2 inches of soil are completely dry, no sooner. The temperature needs to stay pretty stable between 65 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And, crucially, it has to be planted in a chunky, well-aerated aroid mix.
Let's actually break down that light requirement a bit more. Because honestly, light is the single most critical factor for maintaining that iconic pink color. Think of dappled sunlight on a rainforest floor. That is the exact vibe we're going for here. The absolute best light conditions are right near an east-facing window with gentle morning sun, or maybe pulled a few feet back from a really bright south or west window. The absolute worst thing you can do, subjecting it to direct, harsh afternoon sun. It will literally scorch those delicate pink patches into crispy brown spots. And on the flip side, shoving it in a low-light corner is a guaranteed fast track to reversion, which we'll get into very shortly.
Now that light situation feeds directly into our next critical parameter, watering. I literally cannot stress this enough. Overwatering, which leads straight to root rot, is the most common way people fail with this plant. If you start seeing yellowing lower leaves, or feeling soft, mushy stems, or smelling a musty odor coming from the soil, you're definitely overwatering. On the other hand, underwatering will show up as sad, drooping, wilting leaves with crispy brown edges, along with really stunted growth. You've got to find that sweet spot and let the soil partially dry out.
A massive part of getting that watering balance right completely relies on your soil. If you just use a standard, dense potting mix right out of the bag, you're going to suffocate the roots and trap way too much water. Chunkiness is the secret key to oxygenating those roots. You're going to want 1 part high-quality potting mix, 1 part orchid bark to get that vital chunkiness, 1 part perlite for fast drainage, and then just a handful of horticultural charcoal and worm castings that keeps the soil sweet and gently nutritious. All right, let's move into Section 3, Environment and Feeding. Basically, we're replicating the rainforest.
Okay, I want you to burn this number into your brain, 60%. That right there is your target humidity floor. Sure, it can survive in your average 40% household humidity, but 60%? That's where the absolute magic happens. Hitting this target prevents those ugly, crispy leaf edges, and most importantly, it stops new leaves from getting totally stuck and tearing while they're trying to unfurl from the stem. A small humidifier nearby works absolute wonders for this.
Now, let's talk food. You definitely need to provide nutrients, but there are some pretty strict rules to follow. Feed your plant every 4 to 6 weeks during the spring and summer growing season using a balanced liquid houseplant fertilizer. Always water the soil first before applying fertilizer and stop feeding entirely during the dormant fall and winter months. So the crucial point is this: you absolutely must dilute your fertilizer to half the recommended package strength. If you don't do that, you're seriously risking severe root burn.
Getting to the fun stuff now, Section 4, Mastering Pink Variation. This is the secret sauce.
To keep that gorgeous pink, we really have to understand reversion. This is when the plant completely stops producing pink variegation and stubbornly grows only all green leaves. Why does it do this? Well, to maximize chlorophyll production. While sticking the plant in low light triggers this, the true underlying cause is its highly unstable genetics. And here's a major warning for you. Leaves that come out completely pink are equally doomed, because the pink parts have absolutely zero chlorophyll, and all pink leaf literally cannot sustain itself and will eventually die off. So we're constantly striving for that perfect balance of both.
So what do you do if that delicate balance is lost? The key to keeping the pink is strategic pruning. You have to actively intervene. If your plant reverts and starts churning out all green leaves, you must bravely take a sterile pair of shears and chop that vine back. You want to trace down the stem and make your cut just above the last node that showed a good, healthy balance of pink and green striping. Doing this activates a brand new growth point, forcing the plant to try again from a heavily variegated section.
Which brings us to our final leg of the journey, Section 5, Propagation and Troubleshooting, or as I like to call it, multiplying and defending.
Now, if you're going to be pruning your plant, you really need to know how to propagate those cuttings, right? But first, you've got to identify the node. A node is that small, slightly swollen bump on the stem where a leaf and aerial roots naturally grow. What's really interesting about this concept is that without a node, a leaf cutting will absolutely never grow roots. You can't just snip a pretty leaf, plop it in a glass of water, and expect a whole new plant. The magic happens exclusively at the node.
Okay, here is your foolproof step-by-step propagation process. Step 1, choose a healthy vine with great coloration and make your cut about a ½ inch below a node. Step 2, place that specific node in a rooting medium like water, perlite, or damp sphagnum moss. Our source notes that sphagnum moss often yields a very high success rate because it keeps humidity localized right around the node. Step 3, wait patiently for 2 to 6 weeks in a warm, bright spot. And finally, Step 4, once those roots are a good 1 to 2 inches long, go ahead and pot it up in that chunky aeroid mix we talked about earlier.
Now let's talk defense. Like a lot of tropicals, the Pink Princess is definitely a target for pests. We're going to rapid fire through these. Watch out for spider mites leaving fine webbing, mealybugs that look like tiny white cotton balls hiding in the crevices, aphids clustering on your tender new growth, and scale insects that basically present as hard little bumps right on the stem. Fungus gnats buzzing around usually mean your soil is way too wet, and white flies will flutter up in a little cloud if you tap the pot. But I urge you to be incredibly vigilant for thrips. They scrape the leaves, severely deform new growth, and they are notoriously difficult to spot until the damage is already done. So check the undersides of your leaves often.
And to help keep all those nasty pests away, we have one final, brilliantly simple pro tip: keep it clean. Gently wiping the leaves with a damp, soft cloth every few weeks removes built-up dust. Not only does this physically wipe away potential pests, but it drastically boosts the plant's ability to efficiently photosynthesize that precious dappled light, which keeps those pink colors super radiant.
So we've covered the chunky soil, the dappled light, the strategic pruning, and defending against the pests. I'll leave you with this final thought. Are you ready to master the delicate balance of the perfect half-moon leaf? Just remember, maintaining a glorious Philodendron Pink Princess is truly a journey. A little patience, some close observation, and the absolute courage to prune when necessary, those are your true keys to unlocking this plant's ultimate, vividly pink reward. Thanks so much for learning with us today.